can have sex with multiple people. A woman can't. And let me tell you why. Women are nurturers. We act based on emotion. If a woman cheats, it's 30 times worse than if a man were to do it. Because a man can love one woman, 100%. But he can have sex with multiple women and not feel anything for them.
So your man sleeps with other women?
I've come to terms with that. But it's just not socially accepted. But it's not okay for a woman to do it.
So you don't?
No, absolutely not. I'm provided for. I'm taken care of. He gives me everything I need. Whatever. I just ask for him to be safe.
Oh, so wrap it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, there's truth in the biological and emotional differences. Yes, on average, women tend to link sex and emotion more than men do. So when a woman cheats, it's often seen as deeper betrayal, not just physical, but relational. But let's not pretend this double standard exists in a vacuum. It's rooted in power, and that power has always been tied to provision. Look at history. Kings had harems, chiefs had multiple wives, wealthy men across cultures had access to more than one woman, not because they were morally superior, but because they had resources. They could feed, protect, and house more people. It wasn't about gender being allowed, it was about status and capacity. And women, traditionally dependent on that support, couldn't afford emotional or sexual freedom without risking survival. So loyalty was enforced, socially, religiously, violently. Fast forward to today, the game's changed, but the pattern remains. A man with money, stability, influence, he can have options. He can afford dates, gifts, trips, even multiple relationships, emotionally or physically. He's not punished the same way. But a woman who does the same, she's labeled, shamed, called out, even if she's financially independent. Why? Because the old rules still linger. And here's the hard truth. Not every man has the power to choose. This isn't a male privilege, it's a high status privilege. The broke guy working 9 to 5, he doesn't get to sleep around and be celebrated. He gets ignored. Only the man who can provide gets the social pass. And that's not about gender, it's about power through provision. So yes, emotional differences matter, but let's not confuse biology with control. The real issue isn't that men can sleep around and women can't. It's that society rewards certain men with freedom while demanding purity from women. And until that imbalance shifts, we're not having a conversation about fairness. We're just repeating history with better lighting.
Low-key, I shouldn't have a girlfriend because how do I explain to her? Sometimes I just don't want to talk for 2 days. Like, I love you. For real. You're my person and everything. But also, sometimes I need 48 hours to reset my soul in complete silence. No words. No questions. No, what are you doing? No, would you still love me if I was a worm? Like, it's not you, and it's not even me. It's the concept of conversation. You know, I've reached my word limit for this billing cycle. You know, I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm not cheating. I'm not planning a double life. I just need to turn off for a little while to feel alive again. You know, but when you're in a relationship, you can't just say that. You can't look at your girl and be like, hey babe, love you, but I need you to disappear so I can disassociate in peace. It's hard to explain, without sounding like a villain. I don't think ignoring is considered a love language. So, but sometimes I just want to stare at a wall, eat cereal in bed, and be absolutely unreachable.
Here's a problem. In a relationship, you can't just say, hey babe, love you, now disappear for 2 days without being labeled distant, uncaring, or emotionally unavailable. Society says connection equals constant communication, but for some men, especially introverted, thoughtful ones, connection doesn't die in silence. It survives because of it. And he's right. It's hard to explain without sounding like a villain, but the truth is, a healthy relationship doesn't demand constant access to someone's soul. It respects that people have different rhythms. Some need closeness daily, others need space to breathe. And if you can't have both, togetherness and solitude within a relationship, then it's not love that's failing, it's balance. You don't have to be joined at the hip to be committed. In fact, too much time together without personal space leads to burnout, tension, and resentment. That's why maintaining your own life is non-negotiable. Your gym, your hobbies, your swim, your time with friends, she should have hers too. And yes, that means trusting her when you're not around, not obsessing, not questioning, not demanding updates. Trust isn't proven by surveillance, it's proven by silence and still choosing to come back. Because a man who never gets time to himself doesn't just lose peace, he loses clarity. He becomes stressed, reactive, confused. And a woman who demands his full attention isn't building intimacy, She's building dependency.
Every relationship should thrive off of 3 basic rules, right? Love need action, trust need proof, sorry needs change. So when they love you, make sure they showing the action behind it. When you trust them, make sure they have proved themselves for you to trust them. And when they say they sorry, make sure that sorry follows behind change. And if they ever go off script, you need to walk away.
Let's break it down. Love needs action. Saying I care means nothing if you're never there when it matters. If you don't show up, don't check in, don't put in effort, then what you're offering isn't love, it's lip service. Real love is in the small things. A text when they know you're stressed, showing up on time, remembering the little things. It's not grand gestures, it's consistency. Trust needs proof. You don't just give trust and hope it's deserved. You give it after someone has earned it, over time, through honesty, through reliability, through choosing you again and again, even when it's hard. And if they break it, they don't get a free pass. They rebuild with actions, not excuses. Sorry needs change. This is the biggest one. An apology without change is manipulation. It's guilt relief for them, not healing for you. If they keep making the same mistake, late again, lying, disrespecting boundaries, then it's not a mistake, it's a pattern, and patterns don't lie. Now, I wouldn't call them rules, guides feels better, because every relationship is different. But these principles, they work across the board, especially if you're serious, especially if you want something long-term. And here's the final truth. If they go off script, if they stop acting, stop proving, stop changing, you walk. Not with drama, not with revenge, but with clarity. Because staying in a relationship where love is only spoken, trust is assumed, and apologies go nowhere, that's not loyalty.
Everybody thinks the man is supposed to sacrifice his life for everybody else, and he don't get no reward, no enjoyment for it, and there's no return on it. The man's happiness don't mean nothing to nobody. The man's peace don't mean nothing to nobody. The man ain't appreciated, homie, till his presence is no longer there.
And he's right. This is the reality for so many men. From childhood, they're taught, be strong, be reliable, be the rock. But no one ever asks, who's holding you up? No one checks in. No one says, are you okay? Because society assumes he's fine. He's a man. He's supposed to handle it. So he does, quietly, alone, until the weight becomes unbearable. He gives everything, time, money, energy. And when he can't give any more, that's when the world turns away. When he loses his job, his health, his strength, suddenly he's not the provider anymore. He's the burden. And the relationships that once depended on him, they vanish because they weren't built on love. They were built on function. And here's the cruelest part. Men's emotions are ignored until they explode, until there's a breakdown, a rage outburst, a tragedy. Then people ask, why didn't we see it coming? But the signs were there, the silence, the isolation, the exhaustion. They just weren't loud enough to be taken seriously. A man's peace shouldn't be invisible. His joy shouldn't be assumed. His presence shouldn't have to disappear before it's appreciated.
I don't get mad if a woman be like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Well, I love you so much, I want you to be happy even if you're not with me. Blessings on your journey. I don't chase, I replace.
You can chase a woman sometimes.
That's a game. I'm not about to chase nothing. I don't want nothing that don't want me.
But women say things they don't mean sometimes.
That's cool.
So you're just.
But they got some real women out here that say everything they mean.
If a woman ends it clearly, consciously, without manipulation, you don't guilt trip her back, you don't stalk her stories, you don't show up with flowers, you don't try to win her back, you honor her choice and you move. Not because you didn't care, but because you know your worth isn't tied to someone who walked away. Now, yes, sometimes women test, they say things in emotion, they want to be pulled back. But if you're building something real, you don't play games. If she's unsure, you talk, you reset, you dig into the why. But if she's clear, if she says, I love you, but I'm choosing to leave, then chasing isn't love. It's desperation. And desperate energy never rebuilds trust. And let's be honest, when it gets to that point where one person is ready to walk, it's not about one moment. It's about months, even years of missed cues, unspoken needs, growing apart. Both people let the connection fade. And once that foundation cracks, you can't just tape it back with a grand gesture. So yes, you have two choices. Either have a real, mature conversation and both commit to rebuilding, or let go. And strong men, they're strong enough to walk, not because they don't feel the pain, but because they know peace is more valuable than presence without purpose.